Producing currency is no simple feat. It calls for careful attention to detail, the use of specialized machinery, a blend of old-world printing processes with modern technology, and a workforce of highly qualified artisans. So what goes into making this incredibly refined greens? Making paper money has been a responsibility of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing since 1862. That's right, if you ever want to learn more about what goes into money making, BEP is a good place to begin. In fact, this plant in Washington, D.C. and another one in Fort Worth, Texas, print all of the U.S. money. Not to mention, not only does BEP print all of the U.S. government's security documents, but it also produces U.S. paper cash. See, those banknote designers begin by brainstorming concepts and creating preliminary sketches. From there, they create the layout, overall style, and creative elements, which means that the frontal portrait, rear vignette, decoration, and typography are all engraved by engravers who collaborate closely with them and use a mix of modern and old techniques. The engravings are then filled with hundreds of tiny, irregularly shaped lines, dots, and dashes. It is the engraver's mastery of both time-honored techniques and state-of-the-art digital technology that allows the portrait to come to life. Naturally, those complex designs shown on the paper money are actually created by engraving a web of fine lines and grooves into steel dies. These dies are then transferred and processed to make printing plates. These plates are cleaned and polished after a thorough inspection, and if necessary, minor repairs. After being chrome-plated for added toughness, the printing press is all set to use the working plate. Of course, green ink is used on the backs of all notes, irrespective of their denomination. For more clarity, and if you are someone who has never noticed, the new $10, $20, and $50 bills include metallic ink for the freedom symbols, while the faces employ a mix of black and color-shifting ink in the bottom right corner for values of $10 and above. Not to forget, a bell in the Inkwell Independence symbol, made of color-shifting ink, appears on all $100 bills. This ink, the same as others that are used on U.S. currency, is BEP created and blended. And of course, constant quality testing is performed on inks that are going to be used in BEP presses. Now, if we are particularly talking like professional moneymakers, in the currency industry, substrate is a formal term for paper. And because there's a whole lot of fraud going on and about, American currency paper is 75% cotton and 25% linen, with blue and red threads scattered throughout to deter forgery. In fact, no one other than the Bureau of Engraving and Printing is allowed to own this paper, which is created exclusively for them by Crane Currency in Dalton, Massachusetts. Certain watermarks and security threads are also incorporated into the paper used to produce $5 bills and higher. But sure, it is still better to be careful in the face of constantly developing new methods, even though the percentage of counterfeit notes in circulation is still tiny, especially in today's day and age. And then there's offset printing, which is the foundational technique for money printing. It involves stacking successive printing processes on the substrate. Each print technology adds another layer of protection to the currency during production because of the distinct fingerprints left behind by the ink's transfer from the plate, the inks used, and the substrate's surface treatment. But remember, offset printing, which adds color, is the initial phase. Basically, the 3 DC-based offset printing plants and 4 Texas locations of BEP are all equipped to handle this task. The press can print on both sides of a sheet simultaneously. Then again, prior to being put to blank currency sheets, complex backdrop pictures employing unique colors are blended together during the offset printing process. Yet this is applied to all denominations except the $1 and $2 notes. Next, the background colors are printed using cutting-edge, high-speed, sheet-fed pieces of machinery with a weight of over 70 tons and a length of over 50 feet. These enormous machines can process 10,000 sheets each hour. Along with online computer inspection, press operators will manually review each sheet after 500 impressions or more to make sure the colors and alignment are up to par with the strict quality standards. Now, those denominations that pass through offset printing go on to the intaglio layer, whereas the $1 and $2 notes go straight to the intaglio stage. Basically, in this step, the etched plate is coated with ink in order to leave only the ink in the engraved recesses. The surplus ink is wiped off the plate's non-image area. After that, the plate is placed on top of the paper, and then the two are firmly compressed together. Accordingly, the ink from the undercut regions is transferred to the paper, resulting in a completed image that is marginally elevated. Meanwhile, after drying, the texture is similar to fine sandpaper. Highly sophisticated intaglio printing is reserved for highly valuable negotiable papers, such as cash and parts of passports, and where every denomination's distinctive portraits, vignettes, scrollwork, numerals, and text are rendered intaglio. The third and last layer of printing on U.S. currency is letterpress printing alone. The procedure involves feeding two 16-subject sheets of currency into the press, which then prints two green serial numbers: the black Universal Federal Reserve seal, the green Department of Treasury seal, and the matching Federal Reserve identification numbers. Also, because of the sheer volume of printed currency, the Bureau has very high standards for the durability of its products. So in the last stages of manufacture, scientists from the Bureau subjected their dollars to a battery of tests, including washing machines, cement combinations, crumple tests, and more. Now, we know this seems like an odd test, but the washing machine actually fits in pretty well. After all, paper currency is composed of the same materials as those sweats you're wearing, specifically cotton and linen. Undoubtedly, the state-of-the-art technology used by BEP's intaglio presses guarantees that U.S. currency is of the greatest quality and security standard, and that is exactly why each press can print at a maximum pressure of 20 tons and weigh 57 tons. With the option to print 32 or 50 notes per sheet, they are capable of producing 10,000 sheets each hour. That said, the most common organic polymer and the building block of all woody plants, cellulose, is the source of both of these substances. Now, of course, all that doesn't really concern the how the money is made part, but all information is good information, so hang in there with us. Obviously, the exceptional strength and resistance to water breaking of cellulose makes it a perfect material for currency. And so, to make the paper mix even more secure and less susceptible to counterfeiting, little red and blue fibers are added. And yes, money is printed using a variety of specialty inks, including infrared ink, to deter counterfeiters, organic and inorganic pigments, varnishes, alkalids, and drying agents, such as calcium carbonate, a chemical also used to generate red fireworks, all makes up the inks used to print currency. Simply remove the $20 bill from its holder and examine the shiny $20 mark located on the right-hand side of the bill. The color-changing effect that transforms the lettering from green to bronze is achieved with the help of specialized optically changeable ink. Secret characteristics on bills are also concealed using infrared inks, making counterfeiting extremely difficult. And although infrared inks absorb light at longer wavelengths than the human eye can perceive, they are otherwise invisible to the human eye. Basically, the point is that there is absolutely no benefit in attempting to print your own money, because these inks are incredibly rare and need a high level of precision when printed. So why not invest that precious time into doing something more useful?